Hello, my name is Liliana Mota. I am a sociology student at California State University in Long Beach. The title of my presentation is Social Comparison on Instagram and its Effects on Self Esteem. Have you ever felt excluded or that you don't belong in a certain group or place? Well, this is what short, curvy girls of color often feel when looking at perfect pictures of extremely slim and beautiful women in social media. Girls and young women believe that there is a particular idea of beauty that they should fit into, but this idea is outdated because the vast majority of women do not fit into these parameters. The media is responsible for promoting a wrong image of the perfect woman. For decades, they have portrayed that the ideal woman is slim, tall, with small waist, fair skin, and blonde hair. Beauty standards have been and will continue to be unattainable and unrealistic. The image of the perfect woman is harmful to society in general, but especially to girls who are in full physical and emotional development. Electronic devices have become the norm and are used to entertain, inform, and socialize. Social networks like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat are popular among young adults. These social networks are platforms where people present themselves virtually through selfies. But with selfies, image concerns become even a more serious problem. Selfies are manipulated with filters and editing apps to refine facial features. For example, they make your skin look smooth, enlarge the eyes, add filled lips, and slim the face. Both celebrity and ordinary people use these techniques to boost their egos and to make themselves look better for others. Photo editing promotes unreal beauty that damages the perception of young people who want to look perfect at all costs. Body image concerns are an important issue to address because it is directly related to low self-esteem among teens and preteens. This group of the population is vulnerable because they're experiencing physical and psychological changes. Low self esteem makes people more prone to depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and in extreme cases, it even prompts them to undergo cosmetic surgeries to change their appearance. It is vital to promote a healthy body image among young people. Teen girls who have a healthy body image are happy with themselves. They are self confident and understand their true body. Aims to analyze how body image concerns and photo manipulations on Instagram negatively impact young girls' self esteem. I plan to address the following research question. How does Instagram enforce social comparison and how does that impact young girls' body image concerns? Research is explanatory and exploratory. It is explanatory because the topic of body image is widely known and widely studied. There is a lot of information about it. However, it is also exploratory because I have incorporated the social comparison factor. Social comparison on social media is under research and a new subject. And by doing this project, I will contribute to the understanding of this topic. Important to address the topic of self-esteem, body image, and social comparison because it affects the mental and physical health of young girls. For this background slide, I will be referring to some terms, some context, and some statistics. In this paper, we're interested in understanding more deeply the issue of body image, photo editing on Instagram, and how these enforce social comparison among young girls. Body image can be seen as a perception on attitudes one holds towards one's own body, especially but not exclusively one's own physical appearance. According to Cash 2004, it is a multi-dimensional concept that encompasses beliefs about appearance, including memories and assumptions, feelings about the body, including its size and shape, and perceptions of the body and the sense of embodiment. According to Cash 2004, body image is thought to be fluid and dynamic in nature and can be influenced by factors such as interpersonal experience, personality, and social and cultural. Another term that I wanted to coin was social comparison theory. According to Festinger 1954, this theory explains the reasons as well as the process behind the idea. The people evaluate their own opinions, values, achievements, and abilities by comparison, respectively, with opinions, values, achievements, and ability of others. Important term for this project is self-esteem. According to Outdoors and Stewart 2004, self-esteem refers to a person's overall sense of his or her value and worth. It could be considered sort of a measurement of how much a person values, approves, or appreciates or likes his or herself. According to self-esteem expert Morris Robinson, self-esteem is quietly simple as one's attitude towards oneself. He describes it as a favorable or unfavorable attitude towards the self. Some factors that believed to influence our self-esteem include genetics, personality, thoughts, social circumstances, the reaction of others, and comparing the self to others. According to Chai 2007, selfie editing refers to the digital enhancement of selfies using computer programs or smartphone applications, for example, to enlarge eyes and remove blemishes or slim face. For this content section, I wanted to present some bullet points that I thought were important for this presentation. Adolescence is a critical period for body image development because of the various social, cultural, physical, and psychological changes occurring at that time. We also learn beauty standards from media, family, friends, and peers, according to Cash 2004. According to Miller 2017, teens feel immense pressure to keep up with their peers and celebrities, and as such pressure impacts the image that they feel they have to project online via selfies. Some statistics that I would like to present include that Instagram has 1.3 active users worldwide in the United States, and that it is especially popular among young adults ages 18 to 29. In addition, millennials spend an hour a week taking selfies and will take up to 25,700 selfies in their lifetime. 80 million photos are uploaded daily to Instagram, according to Instagram in 2015. The topic of body image concern has been studied for decades. Researchers have been investigating its effects for a long time, but in this specific study, I will be focusing on deepening my understanding about how body image concern is directly related to social comparison. Edited photos and filters promote unrealistic beauty standards, leading to psychological and health problems among young women. These studies focus on young girls because this group of the population is more prone due to the stage of development in which they are, and also because they're the ones who use Instagram the most. In the following articles, I will provide details on how and why young women edit their photos. I will also address social comparison between celebrities and peers and how this process damages girls' self-esteem and general well-being in different ways. The first article that I'll be referring on my literature review is titled Me, My Selfie and I: The Relationship Between Selfie Behaviors, Body Image, Self-Objectification, and Self-Esteem in Young Women. According to the two main researchers, who were psychology professors, Yolanda Belges and Jessica Oliva, carried out this study with the aim of investigating the relationship between body image, self-objectification, self-esteem, and various service behaviors among young women. Their initial hypothesis was that higher body dissatisfaction was related to higher levels of self-objectification and low self-esteem that will eventually lead them to greater engagement in selfie behaviors. The findings of the research indicated that about 50% of their participants spent an average of 3 hours on social media daily. They posted an average of 2 selfies each week. Their main finding fully supports their initial hypothesis. Young women who are concerned about their body image engage in extreme selfie behaviors. They tend to have lower self esteem and they're also prone to experience higher self objectification. The researchers of this study used two main theories to explain the relationship of the variables. First, the sociocultural theory proposes that social media encourages women to seek and internalize unrealistic beauty standards. These beauty standards damage their psychological well being. The second theory that they talk about is the objectification theory. This theory proposes that women are evaluated primarily on their appearance, and by this, it encourages them to engage in self objectification. This study supports my research project because it confirms the relationship between selfie behaviors and low self esteem. It also reinforces the idea that young women who spend long hours on social media experience low self esteem. It mentions the fact that young girls who post selfies are often seeking peer approval and recognition. Their results also support my project because they mention that girls who edit or manipulate their selfies go through negative emotions because they feel ashamed to show their real self. The second article that I'll be referring in my literature review is titled Mirror Mirror on My Phone, Drivers and Consequences of Selfie Editing. This article in particular has a research that was done in Uruguay, and Uruguay was selected as an ideal country because 88% of their population are frequent users of internet. So the main purpose of the research was to investigate the sociological motives and sociological consequences of selfie editing among teenage girls. They were also interested in investigating the psychological effects of body comparison with both celebrities and peers. The findings of this research is the first one that links photo manipulation with self-esteem. It concludes that girls who edit their pictures are more prone to experience negative emotions towards their own appearance. According to their results, girls edit their photos to increase their popularity, to impress others, and to avoid cyberbullying. The results reveal that girls who are cyberbullied are more inclined to edit their photos, possibly to reduce the emotional distress and social anxiety. This research study supports my research project in three ways. First of all, is that it found a positive relationship between body image concerns and low self-esteem. It also supports my project because it confirms that young women edit their photos to increase their attractiveness. And third of all, it also supports my project because it referenced the social comparison theory that I mentioned earlier. These young women are exposed to idealized photos of beautiful women and are pressured to conform to those beauty standards. The research of this finding confirms the assumption that body image concern is directly related to low self-esteem and the fear of rejection. The third article that I'm referring here in my literature review is titled Picture Perfect, the direct effect of manipulated Instagram photos on body image in girls. And the main researcher is Kelmans, citation Kelmans 2018. The purpose of her research was to investigate whether manipulated photos of peers affect body image of young girls. Her results confirmed that manipulated photos on Instagram often lead to lower body satisfaction in comparison to original photos. The results also conclude that girls with higher tendency to make social comparisons had lower body image. Her findings generally confirm the initial hypothesis that manipulated photos on Instagram negatively affect girls. These results contribute to my research project because they found that girls who are exposed to manipulated photos on Instagram often experience negative feelings toward their own appearance. Girls in this research and in life in general tend to compare themselves to what they see in social media. Instagram has created filters that literally make skin and features look perfect, promoting a false reality. This study also supports my research because it focuses on peer to peer social comparison rather than celebrity and models. Next slides, I will be presenting common themes that I found throughout my literature review sources. I will also be providing proper citations to back up my themes. So, the first theme that I wrote down is beauty standards. So, beauty standards are usually constructed by society, they're usually unattainable, and they're promoted by celebrities and sometimes peers. So, on the left, I wanted to show you guys basically the role model for the 19th century, and even into today, Marilyn Monroe has been portrayed as the perfect American woman. She has blonde hair, red lips, perfect makeup, perfect skin, and her body type is just perfect according to what we usually know about the acceptable or the attractiveness of women. And on the right side, we have Barbie. So Barbie is a toy directly for girls, and this is how society has um, has implemented beauty standards from a young age. So a toy basically tells girls what is acceptable and what is not. So if you don't fit into the parameters of Barbie, for example, you're outdated or you don't fit into the normal expected beauty standards. On this slide, I am also providing citations to back up what I just said. So, schools and the media have been identified as focal channels that create appearance cultures that reinforce ideals of beauty and body shapes. Critics and fans frequently blame celebrities and models for using photo retouching techniques because they have normalized an unrealistic body ideal, which is problematic as they serve as role models for girls. The second theme is photo editing. The purpose behind photo editing is to erase or hide imperfections. People edit their photos using filters, they edit selfies, people use editing to do face touch ups and also to do body photoshops. So, low self esteem increases selfie editing in teenage girls. Social surveillance is important because in viewing content generated by others, users come to formulate a view of what is normal, accepted, or unaccepted in our society, and they modify their own posts accordingly. Instagram users tend to upload only their best photos, ones that have been carefully taken and selected to maximize attractiveness and to which can be further enhanced by filters and digital altercation. Found social comparison. So, the act of social comparison is basically comparing yourself to celebrities, influencers, or role models. It could also include peers. Social comparison is due to the worry about opinion of others. Some effects of social comparison is that it increases depression, poor body image, it decreases well-being, and it also promotes eating disorders. Some citations to back up my theme of social comparison is that appearance culture places teens under pressure to present images of their bodies in social media that matches those with peers or models and celebrities. Social comparison has proven to be influential in the relationship between exposure to thin ideals and wummy body dissatisfaction. Instagram world seems inhabited largely by people who, unlike the viewer, have seemingly perfect bodies, perfect lives, and perfect relationships. In this slide, I just wanted to show people who are popular in social media, especially on Instagram. So these are the 4 most followed women in Instagram. Kylie Jenner, Selena Gomez, Kim Kardashian, and Ariana Grande. And all of these people serve as role models who seem to portray or to have the perfect lifestyle and the perfect body, perfect face. So many girls look up to their pictures and their posts, and they might think that these individuals have the perfect lives, but in reality, they only show what they want to show. And we know that they have unlimited resources, so that's why their lifestyle and the way they look is also unattainable. For my fourth theme, I have psychological disorders. Psychological disorders often lead to low self esteem, depression, anxiety, stress, and eating disorders. I also added a citation that I think is really important, and it goes with this theme because it states that people who make frequent social comparisons are more likely to experience envy, guilt, regret, and defensiveness. Another citations that I think are useful to understand the theme of psychological consequences due to social comparison is that teenage girls are especially likely to experience body image concerns and threat to their psychological well-being from social media. In addition, social anxiety increases people's desire to present themselves in a preferred manner, and people who have or who are heavy users of social media show to have a lower sense of self, suffer from depression, and even have thoughts of suicide. So, this is my research, design, and methods section. As mentioned, the main topic of this research is to investigate the relationship between body image concerns and social comparison on Instagram, and how these two combinations negatively affect young girls' self esteem and overall well being. This research will allow us to answer the research question of how does Instagram enforces social comparison and how does this impact young girls' body image. The purpose of this research is explanatory and exploratory at the same time. So the reason why it's explanatory is because we are addressing popular topics like self-esteem and body image concerns. But it's also exploratory because we are adding the factor of social comparison. So social comparison is a under researched subject that has came up because of social media, and there's not a lot of research or information on that particular subject. The theoretical approach that I'm planning to use is dramaturgy. Dramaturgy was developed by Erwin Goffman in 1959, and it's an approach that focuses on people's self presentation in everyday life. This approach states that people act and behave differently depending on where and with whom they're with. Since I will be looking at filters, Photoshop photos, body image concerns, self esteem, and social comparison, dramaturgy is a good fit for my project because people post pictures of themselves to look perfect or ideal, but most of the time they are photoshopped to enhance the image. So, for this approach, dramaturgy, it is very interesting how people present themselves as perfect, and that is usually called front stage. But they also have a backstage where it's like their real life, where they're not dressed up, they're not well groomed, their hair is not done. So it's basically saying that people present themselves as perfect in the front stage, but there's usually a backstage in which they don't present publicly because they don't feel comfortable. The Institutional Review Board has the function of overseeing research proposals that promote to work with humans. In order to obtain my IRB approval, I have to follow a strict protocol. Me, as a researcher in charge of this study, must write a research proposal that clearly describes the purpose, method, appropriate setting, a fair recruitment process, and most importantly, the benefits might outweigh the risks. Some of the principles of ethics that I must ensure in my research is that I must protect participants from all harm. I also have the responsibility to protect their identity. All the records and interviews for these research is confidential, and nobody outside this research team has access to these records. I must also obtain a formed consent from each of the participants Their participation is voluntary and they have the right to drop out at any time. The population that I'm interested in getting for my research project is a sample size of 15. I am interested in recruiting high school students from Los Angeles, young girls between the ages of 15 to 18. Some of the criteria that I'm using for my sample is that I want them to be social media users. Uh, it is very important for girls to admit that they're struggling with body image concerns. And I also want to include girls who admit to edit their pictures online. And just to wrap up this population slide, I just wanted to share that I'm interested in finding girls in Los Angeles County because Los Angeles is a metropolitan city in which beauty standards and image in general is really popular. Since we live near Hollywood, a lot of people come here just to seek a career in entertainment. The recruitment process is very straightforward. I'm gonna be using convenience and snowball sampling. So I am planning to visit local high schools around my area in Los Angeles. I'm gonna be handing out flyers to potential participants. I will be using snowball sampling because I'm gonna be asking potential participants to share this information with their peers to see if any of them will be interested in participating. In this poster, I'm gonna be posting that each participant will be receiving a $20 Starbucks gift card. I will also be posting advertisements on Instagram just promoting my research. For my methods section, I'm gonna be using qualitative research to collect my data. So I am interested in getting qualitative approach because it collects information in words. This approach has a very distinctive way of asking questions to elicit concise answers that help me explain and understand the social issues. According to the book, the main objective of this method is to find meaning. The meaning varies from person to person and is based on their personal knowledge and experience. This way of information is obtained through interviews. I'm gonna be asking 50 open-ended questions. I'm gonna give participants the opportunity to elaborate on the questions, and they can open up a little bit more about whatever they wish to talk to. So I am planning the interviews to last around 90 to 120 minutes each. Um, I am planning to do these interviews in person. I prefer to do it in person because I like face-to-face contact, and I am planning to to get these interviews done at participants' home or anywhere of their choice. I prefer to do it at their homes because I want them to feel safe. I want them to feel comfortable, and I just want them to be in a place where they could relax and they could just open up about whatever they wish. So, since most of my participants will be underage, an informed consent and parent consent will be required. It is highly encouraged that parents must be present during the interviews. The interviews will be audio recorded and transcribed for further examination. I will also be coding and analyzing the interviews manually. Here are some problem questions for my interview. Some of the questions that I will be asking is, do you edit your photos? What are the motivations behind you editing your photos? How many hours do you spend on social media? How does the exposure to alter photos on Instagram affect your self-esteem and overall well-being? And do you tend to compare yourself to others that you see on Instagram or in social media? So in this slide, I am presenting my timeline for the research project. So I am planning to start this project on spring 2023, beginning on February, ending on May. I am seeking to gain the IRB approval by this time. I will also be after that. I will also be recruiting my participants on local high schools. I'm gonna be handing out flyers, talking to interested individuals. I will be following up on potential participants, like explaining them the nature of the project, and I will also be recruiting my future participants by this time, and I am also gonna be collecting the form or parent consent forms at the end of May, by May. By summer 2023, which is between June and August, I am planning to set up interviews, date and time, and I will be beginning the interview process. I specifically chose to do the interviews on summer 2023 because this is when high school students are usually on vacation, so it's a good time to to talk to them and to get to hear their experiences because they're not in school and they have more time. So by fall 2023, September to December, I am planning to be transcribing audios. I'm going to be analyzing the data, manually coding for common themes, and I will also be writing reflection memos. For winter 2024, in January, I'll be concluding my findings and I will be wrapping up my project. Some of the dilemmas that can come up during the interviews is that I can find myself with unresponded participants. To address this issue, if it comes up in the interviews, I plan to do the following. I will give them the necessary attention so that they can feel comfortable talking to me. I will show myself professional and polite. I will be respectful when asking questions. I will not interrupt them when they're talking. If they don't understand the question, I will be more than welcome to rephrase my question, and I will give them enough time to think about their answers. Limitations for this project include that we have a small sample size. Our sample size is made up of 30 participants because resources for this study are limited. It is unknown if the results will be the same if we had included a larger sample. After this research proposal presentation, you may not directly identify with the issues of body image and social comparison. But keep in mind that we all have loved ones who might be experiencing this without you knowing it. The negative consequences of this problem are not exclusive to young women. Today, children are using social networks and the worst consequences are yet to be seen. This research has important implications because it can help raise awareness about the consequences of social comparison among young girls. The results of this project can also help influence disclaimers on social platforms so that viewers can be alert when a photo is modified. This project can also influence legislators so that they can write new laws and policies to ensure inclusion in advertisement and commercial campaigns. Thank you for taking the time to hear this presentation. I appreciate your time.